Welcome back to another episode of Coast2Coast Sports. I am your boy, Harrison. As always, to the left of me, my guy, John. And always to the right of me, my boy, Will. And on the scenes behind the scenes, the little tech guy in the corner, Ryan Smith. Thank you for the pen. Appreciate it. Ryan,
Impressive.
how we doing?
All right.
You doing all right?
All right.
Just all right? Skating fast? Yeah, the baby. Will, how we doing today, bud?
I'm doing okay.
Just okay.
Yeah.
All right, you want to share them the quote of the week or now?
The quote of the week this week is, let me pull it up real quick.
All right, John, how we doing?
Clearly not as good as Ryan. He's over there eating ass.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Shout out my guy. Do we got the quote?
Rather vulgar. Yes, the quote of the week is 3 o'clock is always too late or too early for anything you want to do.
100%. Couldn't agree more.
It's what time I go to work every day.
Yeah. 3?
Yeah.
That's terrible.
That's awful.
Well, welcome back. As always, we do appreciate you guys. Like, subscribe, share, let everybody know. Be a friend, tell a friend. We appreciate you. And I have to say, let's get into it. The NFL draft has come and gone. Dreams were made. Hearts were broken. Dreams to reality. Whatever you want to phrase it or how you want to phrase it. My team did great. My team did bad. Whatever. But the first 5 picks, kind of not like, I feel like a super surprise. A lot of people on the big boards and a lot of people on the draft boards had a lot of these guys going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in some order. But in case you missed it, Trayvon Walker, D-end for Georgia to the Jags.
To the Jags.
Detroit Lions snack up Aiden Hutchinson for D-end as well. Houston Texans get Derek Stingley. Also, defensive player, cornerback from LSU. New York Jets get Ahmed Sauce Gardner, cornerback from Cincinnati. And then the New York Giants get Kayvon
Thibodeau.
Is that really how you say that?
Thibodeau, yeah.
Wow, that's impressive. Shout out John Thibodeau, DN for Oregon. And feel like there's a ton of just straight, the whole top 5 is all defensive guys, which I feel like is kind of surprising how that most drafts are quarterback, running back, like somebody that's going to be like, this is going to change my franchise around like immediately. So basically my first question is there any surprises or any standouts? John, I'm kicking it to you first. Any surprises or any standouts?
So one of my surprises is Derek Stingley going 3rd.
Okay.
I know a lot of mock drafts had him kind of up that high, but if you're like a college football fan, you know that he hasn't really played since 2019. He had a really good 2019 season, injured pretty much throughout the 2020 season, didn't really play much in 2021. I'm kind of surprised he went 3rd. Now, he had a really good 2019 to where you believe that
The ceiling's there.
Yeah, the ceiling's there. I wouldn't say it's a bad pick. I just think, especially with Sauce Gardner right behind there, I think Sauce Gardner would have been the safer pick over Derek Stingley, but that's just something that surprised me personally. I think he could have slipped it down a little more just due to lack of playing time. Or just
and the less film you have, the more damage it does. That's just what it is. Obviously, sometimes you can work for Duke, and then like Michael Porter Jr. played 11 for Missouri, but they were all top 5 draft picks. So I guess it doesn't really, matter. But I feel like football is one of those sports where it's like you need consistent film showing what you've been doing and how you've developed. And I think that's fair, I guess. But I do like that take there. Will, you got any big surprises or standouts?
I got a couple surprises. So first, a big surprise was the Patriots way reaching for Cole Strange, who's a guard from Chattanooga. He should be like a decent guard in the NFL, but there were just other better interior offensive linemen on the board. And then my other just big surprise more was a second QB not being taken until pick 74.
Yeah.
When was the first QB taken?
20 something.
Wasn't it
20 exactly.
Kirby?
Yeah.
20.
Yeah,
It was
Kenny Pickett.
I don't know why I always call him Kirby. I meant Kenny, but yes,
Yeah.
Kenny.
Kenny Pickett was taken 20th, and then Malik Willis just sat around.
I think 3rd round it was picked.
Yes.
Yeah, 74th overall.
Yes.
And or wait, no, I'm sorry.
The Titans draft.
The Titans got Malik Willis, but Desmond Ridder was taken with the 74th pick, right?
Oh yeah, it's Desmond Ridder to the Falcons.
Yeah. But
he was still the second.
yeah, he
kid
was the second pick, and it was like, man, I know everyone was just like, that that meme of he's like smiling like this, and like, who want me?
Yeah,
and it's all no.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
that's
yeah,
Malik
yeah,
Willis.
yeah, yeah.
That's Malik Willis because
He was 86.
Yeah,
okay.
86.
I mean, I think the biggest surprise for me personally is the lack of just any QB selection at all. I understand that this may not have been like the year for it, and I get that, but it's just I feel like there's been other years too where it's not been the year for it, but people still draft a quarterback just because like this guy could do it or this guy can do it. And I think Cliff Kingsbury, he's the coach for the Cardinals, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think he said it best too. Is that when you get in these draft rooms and you get in these draft boards, you're trying to balance of when somebody should be drafted, what you think, versus when they actually get drafted. And he goes, you can't tell whether these kids are going to be fucking studs or not. You're just hoping that they pan out to be. And at the end of the day, when his quote unquote, oh, he should have been drafted there, is when he actually gets drafted there. So I get what you're saying, that maybe it's not the best look to draft Cole Strange as high as they did, especially because he's not necessarily from a football school or any powerhouse of any kind. But I mean, the Colts drafted Quentin Nelson number 4 overall, and everybody was saying that we overreached there too. But now you look at it, he's the best guard in the league. He's only given up 1 sack in the 4 years he's played. Do I think Cole could be that guy? Maybe. Do I think he won't be? Probably not. Just because those guys are freaks of nature and they come every now and then. But to be fair, also the Patriots don't really need to be loaded anywhere else. And I think you bring up a good point that there might be better available guards in the draft or other line. I mean, they might not put him actually at a guard. They could put him at a center. Or they could put him where the hell, hey, you're going to play here. But at the end of the day, if they feel like he best fits their system and is bet, I don't think that. I mean, I trust Bill Belichick and what he's done, and I trust their GM and everything that they go through. But I do feel like this is a bit of an overreach in the sense that they might have been able to wait to the second round to snag him. I mean, am I crazy for thinking that?
No, you're not crazy. I'm sure everybody saw the video by now of the ramp. Sean McVay, and I think their GM was on the podium there too. Just surprised that the Patriots picked him there at 30. I think it's a bit of a reach. I think you definitely could have got him in the second or third round. Now, that doesn't mean he can't be a good player. I think he'll be fine. I think, like Eric said, there are better interior linemen there. Still on the board, so I mean, I think they could have traded down. Maybe they could have done something else with this pick.
Yeah.
Picking him at 30, I think, kind of a mistake.
Yeah, I think also too the fact that he doesn't go to a Power 5 school, maybe that's another reason he's getting looked on. Because if he gets, let's say he just goes to who's a decent Power 5 school.
Ohio State,
no, they're
like just decent.
Like decent, like Rutgers.
Oklahoma State.
Yeah, Oklahoma State, right? Just like a decent Power 5 school, like not going to win you the conference, but probably not going to finish last either, right? If he goes there and they pick him, are people still going, oh my God, they drafted this guy at this early? Or is it just because he's like, damn, this guy went to Chattanooga and that's the only reason he's getting picked? Like, I don't know, obviously, what these GMs, what these guys. In case you haven't figured out, I'm not a GM of an NFL team, and I have never sat in on a GM meeting of an NFL team. I know Ryan has a couple times, but I can't speak to that. So, I mean, I don't know if I'm overstepping there, but I just feel like the fact that he went to Chattanooga, a lot of people are putting too much stock in.
Well, speaking of all this conference talk, another surprise, Big 12 had 0 first-round draft picks.
I don't think that's a big surprise.
Texas had 0 overall picks.
That's what I think is a bigger surprise.
So,
which
Sam Houston State, in-state FCS team, had more people drafted than Texas.
The fact that ever since, I don't believe in curses, because I think you either have the talent or you don't. But ever since, shout out my guy, Sam, plays for the Colts, backup quarterback.
Shout out Sam.
Ever since he said we're back, they have been a dumpster fire. 0 draft picks in the NFL. 0.
I mean, you could trace it back before. It was that I think it was 2015 or 16, Notre Dame at Texas when it was that overtime game. The announcer's the first one that really put that on. Like, Texas is back, folks.
Yes.
On that game-winning overtime touchdown.
But
and it's been downhill since.
I just think with the whole point of when you get to that point of Texas is the biggest brand in college football. They're one of, if not, they have their own radio station, they have their own TV station, they have countless of millions of dollars poured into this thing, and you had 0 draft picks, and you haven't even, they're not even going to compete in the SEC. right now. And I don't know who they think they're going to get that's going to bring him around, but that to me was the biggest surprise. But who do we think doesn't have to be out of these top 5? Doesn't have to be even in the first round, second round, third round. It could be the 8th round guy or 7th round guy. Who do we think has the highest potential of being a stud in the NFL or adding most value to their team? Who do you like? Who wants to go first?
Adding the best value?
Yeah, who do you think has the best chance of being not necessarily a Hall of Famer, but a couple All Pros, maybe Pro Bowls? Just being a good, solid NFL guy. It's going to be around for a while. Who has the best chance?
Honestly, and I hate to say this, I think it'll be Aiden Hutchinson.
Okay, why do you hate to say that?
Because I hate Michigan.
No, that's fair. Okay, fair enough.
But
That's one
because Walker from Georgia, they took him off of like what he could be,
right?
Like what his kind of potential is, because he didn't really show that when he was at Georgia, but he's got the tools there to make him
He has
be
the natural
best.
talent.
Yeah. But I think, honestly, I do think Hudson does have enough talent and just seems like the kind of guy who he's not going to be like the best edge rusher in the league, but it's like, oh, we got him position set. We'll sign him to a long deal. Like he'll be in the league.
He'll be around.
Yeah, he'll be around. He might be on like 2 or 3 teams, but he's going to play for a while, and he'll be solid enough. I mean, I could see it. I could see it. They don't play the same position, but Clay Matthews Jr. with he was on the Packers for a while. He was good. He wasn't like, whoa, best linebacker in the history, but he was good, and then he jumped to the Rams and he played a couple of good seasons. I can see it kind of playing out like that.
My only thing with him, and maybe this is just my scarlet and gray glasses on, I think he only had 3 or 4 sacks before this past season. That's my only knock on him, really. I do think he'll be a good player.
I know
it's something that I question.
I mean, to the defense of Mr. Hutchinson is that it's kind of the same thing of the Bosa boys, right? When was it who was right after, who was there when Chase started taking over?
That would be Nick.
So Nick was there, and Nick was the guy. But Chase was also on the team, and Chase was disgusting, right?
Yeah.
Then once Nick left, Chase became the guy. And who was it, Sam? Was Sam there when Chase was
Hubbard,
there?
Yeah.
Then Sam was like, oh, he's there. He's a solid guy. But, I mean, they had Chase Winovich. They had, they had a really good defense, and Hutchinson was there. So I think that's a fair point. But I don't think you can say, oh, he wasn't the best guy on his team. Same thing with, Chase Young.
Yeah.
Nick Bosa's there. You're not beating Nick Bosa out. It's just, that is what it is. Or when you look at Jameson Williams, right? He was fucking in the same receiving room as Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave. He's like, I'm not going to be the 1 or 2 option. I'm going to go to Alabama. And he was the only reason I feel like Alabama's offense was halfway decent, is they always relied on him. So he's still fucking disgusting, right? I mean,
yeah, no, I mean,
so I think that's I think it's a fair knock in the sense that, he just kind of sprouted up, but
yeah, but like
I think
Nick
that is,
Bosa
you got
and
to take
all
your
them-
turns,
Yeah, like even when Nick Bosa and Joey Bosa were getting scrub time, I think they still had more than 3 sacks before the year that they were like good.
And they might have, and that's still, once again, still
Well,
a fair
Joey Bosa
point,
had
but
a good 14 and 15, so he had like 2 years of dominance. But
I just think he's, because I don't know. I love a lot of these wide receivers that were taken. But if you wanted me to bet money on only one of them, which one are you guys taking?
what, wide receiver?
Wide receiver, first round wide receiver. Which one?
So my answer to my question was actually going to be the answer to your question
Okay,
too.
go
So
ahead.
I'll go
Do it.
first if you
okay,
don't
yeah,
mind.
you go right
The
ahead.
person I think that has the highest ceiling and will be around for a long time is Chris Olave. And the only reason is because he's not going to be the best guy on his team, wide receiver. He might be, but Michael Thomas is still there. Alvin Kamara is still there. And Taysom Hill, still there. So it's like he doesn't have to be the guy coming out the gate. I mean, a lot of these top 5 draft pick guys have to be that guy. And they have to put Jeff Okudah, everybody is shitting on him, but like the Lions are terrible, whether he's on the team or not.
Yeah.
Now it helps that I like your Hutchinson pick because they're going to have number 1 draft picks for like the next decade, it feels like. So he has definitely a high ceiling too because he's going to get other good players around him, potentially. But the reason I'm picking Chris Olave is because he has 2 to 3 other weapons around him to where he doesn't have to be. He's going to get the second or third cornerback. And I think that if he develops to anything like he played in college, he's going to be a solid receiver. He's going to be one of those guys where it's like a T.Y. Hilton, right? Been in the league, going to be in the league for like a decade, maybe more, and just be a very serviceable receiver. Is he going to be Jerry Rice? No. Is he going to be, Devontae Adams leading the league and everything? No, maybe not. But I think he has a very high ceiling. So I think out of my pick, I'm going to pick Chris Olave because I'd rather have Jameis Winston throwing me the ball, or Taysom Hill throwing the ball, than Zach Wilson and necessarily Jared Goff, when Jameson Williams is going to be the number one guy that Jared Goff has to throw to. So, and I'm not shitting on Jared Goff. I'm just saying in general that he's going to get probably the primary, the Tyrann Matthews, the Stephon Gilmore's, the guys that are going to lock up Jalen Ramsey's. So that's my answer to my question and to your question, Chris Olave.
To answer your question, Eric, I think it's Garrett Wilson. I think he's the better route runner. I think he's got better hands. He's also, I know stars don't really mean much. Once you get to the NFL, doesn't mean shit.
Literally zero.
But he was just kind of a more developed receiver coming into Ohio State. Chris Olave kind of had to work his way in there. He wasn't even really a recruit. He was, the way Ohio State found him is they were recruiting somebody else, saw this guy look good.
Yeah.
So I'm
Luck of the draw.
Luck of the draw, yeah. So I'm going Garrett Wilson. I think he's more of a developed receiver. Now, playing for the Jets does hurt him a lot. I don't think Zach Wilson's really pulling his weight there in New York. So that kind of scares me a little bit. But I do like Garrett Wilson. Like, if you put the two players on the same team, they have to deal with the same stuff, I'm taking Garrett Wilson over Chris Olave.
Okay.
That's just my opinion. I think they're both pretty similar at the end of the day. But
see, my pick is going to be Garrett Wilson too. As far as the wide receivers go, Garrett Wilson to me feels like Terry McLaurin Part 2. And I feel like he's the kind of receiver who's going to be able to go play with the presumably subpar QB play from Zach up there on the Jets. And he's just going to be so good that it doesn't matter who's throwing the ball. And so that's he just reminds me of that kind of player. And so I think he'll be the best wide receiver coming out. I'm surprised Drake London got picked top 10, to be honest, actually, to the Falcons.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you always have a wash when you get, people from the Pac-12, just because I feel like they've been very widely inconsistent in talent the past couple of years. Josh Rosen and Sam Darnold. Yeah, both of them kind of were supposed to be like the next big things, and I'm not hating on them or anything, but they kind of fluttered out. And another reason I want to add to that Chris Olave argument as well is that I think he's going to benefit from a much worse division than the Jets will. I like the Jets division a lot more than I do the Saints division, especially for the years to come. Bills obviously set up for a long time. Pats appear to be setting up for a good amount of time. Dolphins are
mid, but still mid.
Dolphins are mid, but their defense is solid. So it's, I think that's going to be a little bit. I think Chris Olave is going to have a benefactor of the worser division, and I think that division is going to be really up in the air with who they have: the Panthers, Falcons, Bucks, them, and then is it just 4?
Well, there's 4 in each division.
Yeah. So the Bucks are the only team you really have to look out for, but obviously they're just buying time, right? So I think that's another reason I'm picking Chris there too, and I forgot to mention that. But
yeah, not a bad pick.
That's my guy. Ryan, who do you like out of the wide receivers that were taken? Are you going to stick with the homegrown cooking of Ohio State? You going to go to Jameis Williams? You going to go
Jahan Dotson?
Or are you going to go Drake London? Who do you like out of the wide receivers that were taken?
Juice Man J. Williams.
I think when it comes to let's just say the wide receivers between Garrett Wilson and Chris Olave, right? You guys were talking you guys think Garrett Wilson will be the better NFL kind of player. I think when it comes to at least the first couple years, there is that sort of development that needs to come from a player that just comes from college. But I think Chris Olave he's gonna have more, I guess, overall, play time. Obviously, so he was a senior. Was he a fifth year?
I think he was a fourth year. I think he could have. Well, especially with the COVID. The COVID year messed
Really
everything
fucked
up.
up a lot of
It
people's years.
fucked off my thinking of like how old these people are now.
Right.
Because they got a free year in 2020. So I think he was a fourth year.
Well, I think just Chris Olave has that more of like leadership mentality kind of stuff to be able to like fit in or even lead a wide receiver core and kind of just have the what do you call it?
The it factor.
The it factor and like the expertise and the play time.
And he has
be able to
Michael
transfer.
Thomas too to look up after
Exactly.
and get coached by. And same thing with Alvin Kamara and Taysom Hill, right? So, I mean, who's the best receiver on the Jets? Is it their tight end?
Didn't they just sign somebody in the offseason that I probably forgot because it was the Jets?
I mean, the only person I can think of is their tight end that was even halfway decent, and I can't even remember his name.
They signed the tight end from the Bengals. What's his face?
Hushman or
Yeah.
But I don't know how much that overlap happens, right? So,
Yeah.
so I just feel like and then
Oh, they got Joe Flacco.
yeah, he's their
Screw
backup.
that,
Man.
yeah.
Shout out my guy Joe.
I'm sorry I doubted Garrett Wilson at all.
But those are kind of the things that we think that I think you should be looking out for and stuff as well. But that's kind of our biggest takeaway. That's my biggest takeaway from the draft. Anything else that you want to mention from the draft, Ryan?
You think this is like the best wide receiver draft we've seen in like almost ever?
Yes. Yeah, it is.
I don't know. To me, it's hard to say that just because, I mean, on paper, I would say yes, because you had, 5 wide receivers taken in the first round? 5 or 6?
Yeah, 6, I think.
2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6. Yeah, 6.
6.
So, I mean, I would say off rip, yes, just because it is 6 right out the gate. But the big thing for me is it's like the 2003 NBA draft, right? Every look back on that and be like, that's the greatest fucking NBA draft ever. I mean, you got Chris Bosh, Carmelo, D. Wade, and LeBron James within the top 5 picks. Of course, that's going to be the best draft ever. And we go a decade from now, we go 10 years from now, we might be like, damn, all those wide receivers were ass. Like, the only one that was decent was Garrett Wilson. So I think on paper, you sit there and be like, yes, this is the one that looks the best right now. I think we also look back and say, this is the worst QB draft ever.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But a decade from now, Malik Willis could be 3 Super Bowl winner, right? It's impossible to predict right now.
Pick the 2 days after the draft.
But I will say, though, I do think that this has the potential to be it. Just when you have 6 receivers.
Plus, you had like 4 or 5 more taken in the second round too. There was a lot of receivers.
They
Taken.
called this the receiver
Like even
draft.
George
so.
Pickens and
When
Sky
I say
Moore,
that, I
who
mean,
were
like,
first round talents.
When I say that, I mean like obviously like you can't figure out how a draft is going to pan out
Yeah.
until like 5 years from now, maybe even more.
Right.
But I'm talking like from like a college point, college
To now.
players getting drafted. Because like when you draft QBs, like we had the one year when Haskins and Darnold and all
Rosen.
those QBs went Rosen, and was Josh Allen on that draft too?
Or so Haskins was the year after. It was
Okay.
Rosen, Lamar, Baker, Allen, and who am I missing?
Are you talking? It's Baker, Rosen, Sam Darnold, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson.
Yeah.
All right. Well, just from that draft, like that draft was loaded with QBs,
Yeah.
and like
I get what you're saying. Yeah. So I would say yes on paper. This is going to definitely look like the more wide receiver draft heavy.
just if it pans
11
out.
picks to 12 picks in the first 2 rounds of any position, I think is impressive, especially when it's an offensive position, just because you have to be sure about those guys. So I think that it does definitely have the hope for it.
It's impossible to predict.
Do you have hope for this though? Just because
I mean,
Ohio State guy?
we just have to see. 2014, OBJ, Mike Evans, Allen Robinson, Jarvis Landry, Devontae Adams, and Brandon Cooks.
Yeah, that's hard to pick.
16
Okay,
Pro
I didn't
Bowls.
think of that.
And then Sammy Watkins had 1 good year there. I mean, he still plays.
Yeah, he's on
John Brown was in the class, and he was terrible. But
He's on the Packers now.
yeah, say he got signed by
yeah,
somebody.
I mean, like, there are a lot of good wide receiver drafts to go through. I mean, Devin Hester's year, too, is, like, pretty legit.
Got great
2000,
turnover.
it was 06. Santonio Holmes, Greg Jennings, Marcus Colston, Brandon Marshall, and Devin Hester.
Greg Jennings.
I mean, like those are like 5
Yeah.
like people who had at least had a few Pro Bowls.
Yeah. Some of them
And
had Super Bowls.
So it's impossible to say whether this group is going to be better
Yeah.
now. They're certainly not better now. Maybe they're more hyped up.
Yeah.
Because there were so many in the first round for sure. But I mean, we'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see. And I think it's a lot of fun, but that's kind of what we do here. We speculate. We do a little speculating.
Yeah.
It's called we do a little
speculating. We do a little speculating. We chop it up. We chop it up. But,
A little tap.
that kind of wraps up the NFL talk.
Mm-hmm.
We'll get to next week. We'll start going through each division. Not division, but like division, like the AFC South, AFC East, and we'll rank each team each week a little bit of what we think their draft grades are and what we personally think it should be. So I think next week we'll start with, we want to do AFC or NFC?
We'll do alphabetical. We'll go AFC.
AFC take. So
it'll be the
North,
AFC
East.
East,
is the true alphabetical
East,
order.
North,
Southwest.
Southwest. Yeah.
Southwest Airlines.
Now, when we go in alphabetical order, is it when we get to the down to the teams?
We're gonna go all the way through.
Is it going to be alphabetical order by the city name or the team name?
Team name.
Team name?
True
Okay.
name. True team name.
Okay, cool.
So it's the Commanders, not
Yeah.
Washington.
Yeah.
Not the Redskins either.
Yeah.
Definitely.
It'll be the
Oh yeah, it's
Yeah,
not
yeah,
the
yeah.
Washington Commanders, it's the Commanders.
So the first team
It's
that
the
we
Eagles, not the Philadelphia.
So the first team that we will be
Grading.
is the Miami Dolphins.
No, it's the Bills.
It is the Buffalo
Bills.
Bills.
Dolphins, I believe, will be a close second.
Yeah.
Yes. Then some might say the Jets.
Then the Jets might be in there somewhere.
Yeah.
And then
Maybe
the Patriots.
the Patriots.
Let me pull out my abacus.
sorry, Buffalo fans. You slipped my mind.
You slipped your mind. So we'll be doing that next week. So obviously we'll get more in depth with the draft picks, what we think, what we like, what we don't like, what the future holds. But moving on to the more important and most important debate that we have.
What is it?
What is that?
We mentioned it a few weeks ago. What is the best month of sports?
Oh,
What is
dude.
the best month
Oh.
of sports? We forgot to come back to it. We forgot. You thought.
We did.
And we did. And I'm bringing it up right now because my month has to involve what we're talking about next. So I'll go last to segue us in.
Okay, you
So,
go last.
Eric-
You go last.
Eric Money Dollar Signs, Selena wearing silver or gold?
This is silver.
Silver chain, mustache, caterpillar having. Will.
Mm-hmm.
Best month of sports. What do we got?
Okay.
See, you thought I was going to you first, John. Best month of sports. What do we got?
I mean, I think.
We're going alphabetical order right now.
No, we're not.
Anyway.
No, you're Will.
Oh.
Okay, if he's a Will.
Yeah, you're Will. I always say the right of me, my
You're
boy
right.
Will.
You would
You're
you'd
right,
be
you're
going
right.
first, but whatever.
But I want to go last, so it's segues.
Oh, okay.
So we're going reverse alphabetical abacus. Go on.
Okay. I think this is the obvious answer.
Lay it on me.
It is October.
No,
October
that is not the obvious answer.
You have
strongly disagree.
the
Go on.
World Series.
Lay
You
it.
got NHL playoffs, I think. You got
The playoffs for the NHL right now.
No.
Or is
the
it
NHL
NHL starts?
NHL starts, NBA starts. You have college football. You got NFL football. Do you need anything else?
Yes, I can think of a few things.
What else do you need?
I can think of free school, an oil change, some new tires, a better career. I wish this podcast would make millions of dollars,
I mean, I guess
so we can.
I
make
guess
this
that
our
last
full-time
thing
thing.
you said was sports related, but
Right,
everything
so
else
that's
was
not
not
sports related. So you got 5
It's
critical
October.
major sports going on.
There's no way it's not October, because especially October, you're getting into the beef of conference play in college football.
Mhm.
I mean, NFL is just an NFL schedule.
Yeah, but you're also getting into the hype of the NFL, of the
Yeah.
new year, and everything as well.
Yeah, and then I mean, you get October, you get playoff baseball. Few things in this world are better than playoff baseball.
Mhm.
I know I can get you on that
Yes, you can.
bandwagon. I mean, and then also some sprinkle on top. You get some NHL, NBA action.
Of
So
course.
I think it's by far October.
I don't hate your pick. I don't like it though.
Okay.
Will.
Man. Very contentious.
It's
discussion
a lot of
going
heat right
on.
Yeah, we're gonna argue.
Very
after the show.
contentious. I think I know where you're gonna go. I think I know where you're gonna go.
Where do you think we're gonna
I'm not gonna say it.
go? Okay, don't say.
I'm not gonna say
We
it.
want to know where he
No,
is.
no, no,
I
no,
wanna
no,
know.
no. Months ago,
Months.
when it feels like it, when I brought this up, I had an idea in my head.
Okay.
It was percolating, it was
Okay.
percolating up in there. And I was going to go more Giants direction.
That's a safe pick.
But now, I have reversed course.
Okay.
Because my favorite time of the sports year, nothing is better to me than the NFL playoffs. Yep. Yeah. Divisional weekend is the best time ever.
So February is your pick? Or what month?
January.
January.
January is my pick. You also
And you have a New Year's Eve.
yes. You
Not
got,
New Year's Eve.
You got New Year's Day, and you got a bunch of major bowl games in college football. You got the national championship, of course. You got NBA regular season going, conference play. Finally, people are. That's when I
Starting
can
to pay
like
attention.
start to pay attention. NHL's going on, NHL All-Star Game, and then the NFL playoffs. My favorite Sundays of the entire year. No Sunday can be better. Most Sundays suck. So that's not that hard, but those are my favorite Sundays. I love the October pick because there is, you got MLB playoffs. You got college football is full swing. We've got some big games going on.
Like Ohio State's usually playing Penn State.
Yeah, Ohio State, Penn State coming in.
Or Ohio State, Michigan State.
Yeah, something like that's going on.
getting-
But NFL playoffs, I'm an addict. I'm an addict to the NFL playoffs.
What did you say? I need to send you to rehab.
Yeah.
Do we need to have an intervention?
We need an intervention
I don't
for
think
the
we do.
NFL.
I think that's a very healthy.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
So,
January. I know.
Ryan, would you like to chime in on your favorite sports moment?
I'd like to say real quick, Bleacher Report agrees with me.
Well, Bleacher Report going to suck my ass because they're not the Coast2Coast sports.
That's
Does the Bleacher Report have the Coasties?
They,
No.
I don't
do
think
not,
so.
They do not.
Look at the
Ryan,
Bleach-
would you like to chime in, or are you just going to enjoy the argument?
Bleaches.
I don't know. I think it might have been this past month. I mean, April?
Incredibly overrated. Incredibly overrated. Incredibly overrated. Go ahead.
I want to shake your hand.
No. I want to shake your hand, Ryan.
I will let you go. I will
Go
let
ahead.
you go.
Go
I'll let you
ahead.
go. Ryan, go ahead. Sorry, I know we got loud.
Preposterous.
I know we got.
Preposterous.
I know we got loud. We'll bring it down. Bring it down.
Yeah,
Ryan,
calm down.
Ryan Smith. Go
Uh,
ahead. Lay it on me.
I'm a little biased. We got the Masters.
Masters.
Mm-hmm.
We got the beginning of the NBA playoffs.
Fair.
We got MLB,
Mm-hmm.
our opening weekend kind of stuff.
Some weeks it's in, some years it's in March. But
Continue.
this year,
Go
we're
on.
not.
Doesn't the March Madness national championship, does that take place beginning of April?
The
right?
Final Four will be in April.
Final Four and national
So just
championship.
yeah, so Final Four. That's included in Final Four in my opinion.
Okay. Then we got what else was there? I'm missing one.
WrestleMania.
Ah, right. How could you?
Gotta love Masters.
NASCAR's probably in there
Somewhere.
somewhere.
There's somewhere. NFL draft. You got NFL draft.
NFL draft. NHL, like
Playoff.
playoffs are beginning.
Most
right
years
now.
they start in
Yeah.
April. This year they didn't, but most years does.
And let's see what MLS started in April.
Would you like to just kick it to me?
Go ahead.
So, the reason I want to shake Ryan's hand is I completely agree. For all the reasons, come here.
Oh, there. Oh, okay.
For all the reasons you said. I mean, you get the Final Four,
WrestleMania.
of course. But the biggest reasons I like it is you get the Final Four, you get the hype around the NFL is, already ended. Been a couple months since it's been. You're starting to get the stir of the NFL season back. You get free agency frenzies happening. You get your team hoping to make a cash-in sign, or you're just hoping to make a good draft pick. You get the excitement around that. Then you get the wrap-up of the greatest sporting event arguably ever in March Madness. You get the NBA playoffs starting, or you're getting to that part of the season. NHL, same scenario, same-ish, right? Then you get opening weekend. And the reason I'm going to argue that opening weekend is better than the playoffs is because if you are a Reds fan,
I don't know who would do that.
if you are a Reds fan, or you are a Guardians fan, or you are a team that's not going to be good, you have the hope of that first 2 weeks of that season being like, you know what? This is a lot of fun. This is our year. Like, not necessarily our year, but this will be a lot of fun. And then once 3 or 4 weeks go by, like once MLB playoffs happen, If your team doesn't make it, I feel like most people kind of check out. There's very few avid fans that will watch the playoff, regardless if their team makes it or not.
Oh, yeah.
But I feel like when the Reds season started, you knew you guys were going to be bad.
Yeah.
You knew it.
Yeah.
Right? But you're like,
So I'm
hey, you
still
know what?
gonna
It's
watch-
opening weekend. I'm going to watch the first at least series and a half. Two series.
But you're also not telling me that I'm not going to be totally invested in the MLB playoffs. And the
I
World
understand
Series,
you
though.
are.
I will.
And
be.
you understand that I will be.
That's fine.
But
That's
he's not. But he's not. But he's not. They're not going to be that.
well.
Your
His
guys are
Yankees are going to be in the World Series this year.
Stop it. They won't. They're going to choke. They're the Yankees. Come on. They haven't been in the World Series in a decade. Anthony Rizzo, home run leader. But
go ahead.
yeah,
Go ahead.
MLS starts and is getting underway, and also European soccer is like in full swing. Then you also have international play. Men's just qualified for a World Cup. You have World Cup play. You have international breaks. There's just so many more diverse sporting events happening around the month of April. So that's why I think it's the best.
I also forgot to mention college basketball. Technically begins in October.
Uh-huh.
There's some good games in October.
I feel like a lot of good games are in October. I
if
feel like
you-
there's first
There's
like
a lot of
four,
there's some like
pre-tournament, like the
okay,
Maui
yeah,
Invitational. What was
you
it,
had,
like
like,
Ohio
Big
State,
Ten.
North Carolina,
Yeah.
Kentucky, and then like Syracuse or
Or
something.
that might not be in October. That's kind of more November, I think. But the you do have like when they do that tournament when the first college football playoff bowl comes out, where it's like Michigan State, Duke, Kentucky, and Kansas. I think those four teams always play each other where they rotate.
Yeah.
You do have the Big Ten ACC Challenge, which
Yeah. Always
so
fun.
you do have some good college basketball, but
Yeah.
that's October as well. I just like to point that out.
So first of all, I just wanted to say that I heard through a little birdie called the radio that the Reds this season so far have not had a pitcher pitch 6 innings. They have not had a pitcher go 6 innings.
The Reds are not good.
Or complete 6 innings. So they started like
and
the
then
6th
been
inning,
removed.
and then they were removed. Like,
Yeah.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
probably right.
Yeah, that's probably right. Seeing how that they're averaging 2.7 runs a game. Yeah, the Reds are not good. They're on pace, I think, to be the worst team in MLB history.
It's their worst start. They're what 3-19.
They're 3-19. Yes,
I think they might be on
lost
pace to be
yesterday.
the worst
2 days ago.
ever.
All right, but let's get back to the debate then.
Yes.
Okay,
So I mean,
see,
you let us know what's the best month. We'll put a poll up. We'll put a poll up on Twitter.
We'll put up a poll.
We'll clip this kind of segment. We'll put a poll up on Twitter. We'll put a poll.
We'll do a little Twitter poll. It's called we do a little
Twitter
Yeah,
poll.
we do a little-
It's called a democracy. We allow the people to help us pick.
Yeah.
But if it's not April, you're wrong. But
I mean,
so the reason I brought that up is a segue because it's the NBA playoffs.
it is the
Yeah.
NBA playoffs.
In the Miami Heat, Ray Allen,
Yeah.
shout out my guy, greatest 3-point shot in playoff history.
I think Kyrie would disagree.
We'll have that debate another day. Don't worry about it. The second round is officially underway. You have in the West Suns versus Mavs. Then you have in the that's the what 3-4. No, 3.
You got 1-4. I'm looking
Yeah.
at it right behind you.
Suns versus Mavs 1-4.
2-3.
Is that over here?
Yeah, Grizz Wars.
And then Grizz Warriors 2-3. Then in the East, you have Heat versus Sixers 1-4.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have Celtics versus Bucks 2-3.
2-3.
All chalk.
All chalk.
All chalk. Which series do we think will be setting up to be the best out of the 4 remaining series left? What series do we think will be the best series? Either be the most exciting, be the most stories around it, just be the most fun. However you want to take it, which way do we think we're going? Which one do you think would be the best series?
Well, that's tough. Me personally, I think Bucks Celtics is going to be the best one in my opinion. I think
Best one in what scenario? What sense?
I just kind of think it'll go the farthest amount of games.
Okay.
That's kind of what I'm basing it around because I do think the Bucks are kind of playing their best basketball right now.
Mm-hmm.
We kind of dogged them towards the end of the regular season, kind of pretty much our entire podcast. We've been kind of dogging them a little bit. I do think they're playing their best basketball right now. Also, I mean, the Celtics, since we started the podcast, has been probably the hottest team in basketball.
Yeah, right.
So I think you do have a good little matchup there. I think you got two really passionate fan bases here, especially in Boston. So I think I'm going Bucks and Celtics.
Okay. Well, who do we like?
I think Warriors Grizz is going to be the best series.
In what sense?
And that it'll have the most compelling
games, just
have
most
the most
compelling.
compelling.
Okay.
games.
Okay.
I mean, we've saw all of these teams play each other in the last couple days, and the Bucks wiped the floor with the Celtics. The Heat Sixers game was rather uneventful. Suns Mavs also wasn't really a barn burner, and Grizzlies Warriors was a 1-point game. So
with a chance to be won.
with
At
the
the very
chance, yeah, at the very end. So I think those two teams are probably pretty evenly matched, even though I think they are actually they are two of the lesser teams that are left in this playoffs.
Okay.
In fact, if I would probably put Mavs as the last overall, Grizzlies, Warriors, and then everyone else would be above.
Where would you put the Sixers?
I would probably put the Sixers right above the Warriors.
Okay.
Fully healthy Sixers.
Gotcha. So with JoJo.
Yeah, with JoJo playing. Without JoJo playing, that's barely even a playoff team.
Yeah. I would argue it's not a playoff team. I think personally the most exciting series that will be the best is, I think the Suns and the Mavs are going to be very underrated because I think Luka the Don and Spencer Dinwiddie are actually a very fierce duo that it's not getting enough love.
Yeah.
But the biggest reason I think that is just because I think you're going to see some really good playoff games out of them. Will it go 4 games or will it go 7 games? Probably not. I'm sure the Mavs will steal 1. I'm sure the Suns will probably win in 5 or 6. But I think it's one that's going to have the most stories around it. Luka dropped 45 last night. Fucking insane. Right? I think you're going to look for Devin Booker to go crazy or Chris Paul to go crazy again, go 14 for 14 or, have a perfect shooting performance again. Or you're going to have these teams just kind of battling out. I think that the Warriors game will be interesting if Draymond plays the entire game. We mentioned that before when we were talking about just before this podcast started, is if you have a Draymond for the entire game, maybe that game isn't as close. I don't know. Maybe they lose. Anything can happen, right? I think the Celtics and the Bucks series will be interesting, but I feel like Giannis is manhandling them.
Yeah, the first game was definitely not indicative to me.
And I don't know how good the Celtics are. I mean, everybody's putting all the stock because they beat the Nets, but they only beat the Nets those 4 games by a combined total of 14 points over 4 games, which is insane. Like, that's a really close series. And it could have gone, either way several times. So, and everybody was shitting on the Nets for playing bad. So maybe the Celtics are just playing good, but maybe we put too much stock into them too soon. So I think this series will be more of a tall tale sign. Obviously, I'm more than welcome to eat my words, so yeah. I'm sure John will clip this, and especially if he's right.
Never.
Yeah, I'm sure. But if that game I could see that series going 7 just as easily. But I think that if the Bucks win tonight, I think they'll sweep the Celtics, and you can book that, and that will be a quote. But I think the Suns and the Mavs will have a lot more stories around it, especially if Devin Booker doesn't necessarily come back to that full, 100%. But speaking of those, and speaking of more individual players like I was starting to get into with Devin Booker, Luka, Chris Paul, Giannis, what do you think key to each team's way to the conference finals? Like, what's the key to these guys' final? Could be however you want to take that. Before I pull it or point it in any direction, I'm just going to leave that as a raw question. What's the key to each team's way to the conference final? Will, go.
All right, so the Suns' key, I think, is everyone just getting healthy. Everyone,
You know what? Let's do that first. We'll just go by team. Suns first.
Okay.
I feel like that'd be easy instead of you rattling off.
The Suns' key, I think, is just everyone being 100% healthy, ready for whatever battle is going to go on in the Western Conference Finals. Because I really am not giving the Mavs much of a chance here. So I think it's about getting the whole squad together, getting on the same page.
Same page.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, Will, but also I think if the Suns can limit Luka, I think there's not really much the Mavericks can do outside of that.
Right.
So I think kind of limiting Luka, he'll do what he does, but if you can
buckets.
limit that, I think there's no way the Suns lose.
I think the Suns' biggest key to making the conference finals and maybe even beyond, and obviously once this round gets up, we'll do the same thing, to getting to the finals, is Chris Paul. I feel like Devin Booker's a phenomenal player. DeAndre Ayton's a very good player as well. But Chris Paul's a cog in the machine. If he's not playing or he's not playing well, or God forbid he gets injured, which kind of ties into what you guys said, I think the Suns could potentially either lose the series against the Mavs or get worked by whoever comes out of the Grizzlies Warriors. But kickstarting to the Mavs, John, what's the Mavs' big key to rallying, getting past the Suns, beating the best team in the NBA's record? What do you think the key is?
I mean, it's a tall task, but I guess just Luka, if he just goes off, I think that's kind of the Mavs' best chance here. They had a good regular season, but it's kind of looking like a tall hill to climb here.
What do we like about the Mavs?
Really, the only chance the Mavs has if Luka goes berserker mode. Yeah, he goes Super Saiyan. That's really the only thing I have.
See, I think I'm going to go the opposite of you two guys. I'm going to go to his counterpart. I think it all relies on Spencer Dinwiddie. I think we can all agree Luka's going to get his. It's like LeBron in the playoffs where you're like, you're not going to stop LeBron, right? LeBron's going to get 30 points, 10 rebounds, probably 8 or 9 assists. Like, he's just going to get that. It's whether you can limit Kevin Love or, Anthony Davis. You can limit the supporting cast.
Yeah.
If Luka gets 45, that's great and all. But if you still win the game, who gives a fuck, right? You have to limit Spencer Dinwiddie. You got to limit, the other role players that they have. Brunson is the biggest key too. It's going to be Spencer and Brunson that are going to be the people that you're going to have to limit for them to be for the Suns to be really successful against them. But let's move. Staying in the West. Grizzlies keys here. Who's the biggest key?
I think the key is keeping up the energy that they have. When they come out and they play like their hair's on fire every night, and that's hard to keep up, but if they can keep that same energy up defensively and offensively, they have a chance to make it out of that series.
Yeah. What about you, Mavs?
Mavs,
Grizzlies.
I mean, obviously, Ja Morant's going to do Ja Morant.
Going to try to, at least.
Yeah, he's going to try to. I think if Desmond Bane can kind of get going, be a good counterpart to Ja Morant, I think that's kind of the Grizzlies' best shot because you're going to have to outshoot the Warriors. So I think if that offense can get going, I think the Grizzlies can advance.
See, I was a toss-up between Desmond Bane and Jaren Jackson Jr., and I think I'm going to go with Jaren Jackson Jr. I think that if he can be the better counterpart, because the Warriors don't have necessarily, I would say, that the size that Jaren Jackson has, or to really match up. Obviously, Draymond's a phenomenal defender, and Wiggins can do his part. But if they get a real dominant down low, then that opens up the Desmond Banes. That opens up the Ja Morant. Like, that opens up so much more around the perimeter for them to do in and outs, and then having the whole team collapse on them. So I think Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to be the biggest key for them getting out of it, and I think that Will brings up a great point is that energy. You got to match the Warriors and be able to take a punch. So, Warriors, biggest key. What do you got?
So this is probably, out of the 4 series remaining, this is the most offensive-minded teams. So I think Draymond Green, if he can play full games, I think...
Not get ejected.
I think he can provide that defensive prowess that would get them above and beyond in the next series.
Will, who do we like out of the Warriors there? Who's the big key?
I think for the Warriors, the big key is to win the rebounding battle and keep battling on the boards. I know that they out-rebounded him in Game 1. It was real close, but in 1-point games, that is the difference maker. If they can keep up, winning the rebounding battle, I think that is going to be major key because both of them can light up the scoreboard, and so I think you got to make sure they only get one shot.
I think for me the biggest key will be the real most improved player of the year, and that is Jordan Poole. I think that he had 31 points off the bench, or 30 points off the bench, and it was a 1-point game. So I think that he needs to be one of those key guys coming off the bench, much like a Tyler Hero for the Heat and some of these other guys that obviously aren't in the playoffs anymore, but some of those key guys that are coming off the bench that are supplying those roles for those guys. And I think that Jordan Poole has got to be the guy for the Warriors for them to have any hope in this series and even to go further, because Steph's still coming back kind of from his injury, looking fine, looking great. Clay is just not the vertical and lateral defender that he used to be, and obviously Draymond's going to be Draymond, so you just never know with him. So he's up in the air. But moving to the East, let's do Heat first. Biggest key, Will.
The biggest key to the Heat winning is going to be slowing down Maxey, making sure that they keep him under control, and limiting trips to the charity stripe.
Of course.
I think those are the two biggest things. Just because, with Embiid out, it kind of changes the whole kind of feel of the series. But, if he can come back game 3, relatively healthy in, MVP or, close to MVP form, it's going to be stopping Maxey as that third option and making sure they don't shoot 30 free throws.
40 free throws.
Yeah, those are the keys to the Heat.
What about you?
For the Heat, you might have to help me with this one. What's your center's name? It's like Bam.
Bam Adebayo.
Bam Adebayo.
Bam out the Bayou.
Should have won Defensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, if he can keep up,
They got our vote.
Yes, he got our vote. If he can keep up that defensive prowess, limit Joel Embiid, out rebound him, the Heat are obviously, I think, going to win this series, in my opinion. But I think that's kind of the biggest key, I guess.
I think the biggest key, whether Joel Embiid was perfectly healthy or not, is the bench. When you go any deep, and if you go one person off the bench for the Philly, it's a significant drop off. 13 or 10 3 attempts and missed every single one. But when you look at the Heat's bench, you have an All-NBA caliber defensive player, used to be All-Star in Victor Oladipo as your 7-man, and then you have who just won this year, 6-man of the year, 30 minutes ago, Tyler Herro, who's giving you 20 points off the bench. Shout out my guy. When you have those guys coming off your bench, and then you have Duncan Robinson, he didn't play a single minute last night, but he can drop buckets any given time. Then you have Dwayne Dedman, the length, the size, and then you have Markieff Morris also off the bench. They just have a lot of depth, and the key is them. Who gives a fuck if Joel Embiid gets 30 points? But if the guy on the bench can't give you anything, then it doesn't matter. So I think that's going to be the biggest key for the Heat here. So for the Sixers, John, biggest key.
Biggest key for the Sixers is just going to be if James Harden if he can shoot well, I think just go back to Houston Rocket day.
Yeah.
James Harden to where he's
30 points for a month straight.
Yeah, where he's one of the greatest players in the game currently. I think that's kind of the biggest key for them because, like you said, Joel's going to just get what he gets.
Yeah.
That bench needs to help out more, but I think James Harden can carry some of that load as well if he's able to do that.
Yeah.
I think the key to the Sixers is Doc Rivers crafting game plans that are actually going to help close out games and having smart rotations. But it's also on Harden and Embiid when he comes back to close out games. Get the bucket when you need to get a bucket to close out a game. But I think when Embiid's not on the floor, this series is almost not even watching.
Yeah.
So kind of let me know when he's back in the line.
I will let you know. I think actually it's going to be the polar opposite of what I said about the Heat. It's the bench. I think we saw it very, very prevalent last night. As soon as the fourth quarter hit, James looked exhausted. Tyrese looked exhausted. And DeAndre Jordan had the worst plus minus, almost one of the worst plus minus of the remaining teams left. I think he did. So if they have no help off their bench, whether it be Reed, George Niang, Thibault, if you just can't have those guys come in and give you minutes, then you have to ride your starters longer. And the more you ride your starters longer, the fatigue sets in. But when you have 6-man, 7-man guys coming up on the other end, on the other team that can just play and arguably starters in 90% of the rosters in the NBA, I think you're going to be hard. So it's going to be the bench of the Sixers and be able to stop a Heat run. So I think that's the key point. But Celtics, Bucks, what do we think? Biggest key for the Celtics.
Okay.
I left you there hanging.
Yeah, I was on the edge of my seat. Celtics, the biggest thing they need to do is dominate every single non-Giannis minute. If Giannis is not on the floor, they need to have. That's when they need to be playing. They need to be dominating,
getting buckets.
Yeah, they need to be getting every stop, getting every bucket, because when Giannis comes on the floor, you really have to focus on him.
Yeah.
So they need to dominate when Giannis is off the floor, and they just need to take better shots. Yeah. I think they were taking too many, threes. Forced threes in game one, and I think they need to. I know the Bucks are pretty long, they're pretty tall, especially when Giannis is on the floor. They need to keep attacking, even if they think they don't have it. They need to keep attacking the paint and getting better shots because the threes are just not gonna work out unless Jaylen Brown starts going off,
right?
Because I know he was really playing good in the first round, and he just didn't really look comfortable in game one. So I think that is hopefully maybe they can turn it around. Yeah.
What do you think, Celtics?
I think it's just kind of the defense in general. I mean, if you can get Giannis to kind of be off his game, just kind of limit him to some bad shooting opportunities, I think that's kind of your best bet there. I mean, I pulled up the live game now. They are playing. Celtics are up 65-40. Giannis is shooting 2 for 12 right now.
Yeah.
So if they can do that,
they'll be good.
they'll be good. If Giannis can shoot for 2 for 12.
So
I did not know the game was started at like 6.
It's not started. It should be 7:30.
Well, it's
Yeah,
halftime.
It's 8 now. It's halftime. Halftime.
Well, when
Celtics
it's a
up
blowout,
65-40.
those games go quick.
Okay.
The biggest thing, and I was flipping between two. I was going between avoid Drew Holiday at all costs and Robert Williams, and I'm gonna go with Robert Williams instead. He's the key to the Celtics winning. When Giannis was being guarded by Robert Williams held Giannis to 0 for 5. And when he was not being guarded when Giannis was being guarded by literally anybody else, unreal. So I'm gonna say Robert Williams for it, but my second run-up is avoid Drew Holiday. Who the fuck Drew Holiday's guarding? Go. I was getting guarded by Drew Holiday. Guess what, Jason? It's your time today. Al Horford, your time. Thias, whatever, your time. Marcus Smart, who's not going to be injured. I think he's missing this game right now, but it's your time. You just got to avoid Drew Holiday. He's one of the best defenders in the league for a reason. So now for the Bucks, ignoring the blowout right
Jalen
now.
Brown has 25 points. I think
Right,
he's pretty
so-
comfortable right now.
Right. So yeah. So the Bucks, what's their key?
Okay, the keys to the Bucks, and this is funny that Giannis is 2 for 12, has 5 points, because one of my keys was Giannis needs to put up more points. I know I think he had like 24 in game 1. Bucks need him to have 34.
Yeah.
And 5 points at halftime is not,
Yeah, 24.
Yeah, not going to get it done. But also my other key was the Bucks need to keep being physical. The Celtics love to push people around. Down in the paint, they love to get physical. The Bucks need to be able to match that, because if they don't, it's NBA playoff basketball.
They're gonna allow some bang.
Yeah, they allow you to bang down there.
Bang on dudes.
Yeah, they're banging on
They're
dudes.
banging on dudes.
They're banging.
Yeah. You're allowed to
when
bang
a
on
dude's
dudes.
banging on you, you got to bang him back.
Yeah, and
Bang 'em
you
hard.
got to be able to handle the blow
Yeah.
that a dude's banging on you, especially
Yeah.
when he's banging on your backside.
Yeah.
And he's pushing the pressure against you. Like Giannis is going to be doing a lot of post ups.
Yeah.
And when you're getting banged on in the back, it's definitely going to be hard. You got to be able to sustain that. But
Yeah.
what do you think? Shout out Charles Barkley.
Yeah.
Shout
The goat.
out Charles. I think it's kind of shoot. I mean, the Bucks just need to shoot better in general.
Right.
I mean, I'm looking at the game 1. I mean, Drew Holiday 8 for 20, Giannis 9 for 25. I mean, they need to shoot better. But if they can shoot better, Portis is the key. I think if he can kind of be a good third guy there, get about maybe like 18 to 20 points, maybe be a good
Good scoring option.
yeah, good scoring option. I think the Bucks could not sweep by the Celtics, because they're gonna lose tonight. But
Hey, don't count it.
I'll book it.
That's the best player in the NBA on the other side.
you know what they
sir.
say,
Yeah, with Brook Lopez.
the 25-point lead is the hardest lead to protect in basketball.
Yeah, they do say that.
Yeah.
My key, actually, I was between Bobby Portis and Brook Lopez, and I'm going to say Brook Lopez. He provides something for the Bucks that they have missed very much, and that is stretching the floor. Brook Lopez is a very, very good three-point shooting big. He is a very, very good three-point shooting big. So when you can have him stretch, and then you have to worry about a 7-footer, posting you up down low like he can, or a 7-footer shooting a 3 and shooting at a very high clip, that just gives Giannis more space to work. So it's Giannis essentially not proxy. What's the term I'm looking for?
I don't know.
I thought proxy was a decent word there.
Fine, proxy.
Yeah.
But the way Brook plays, if Brook's shooting well and he's playing well, it's going to stretch the floor, allows Giannis to work more and be able to do whatever the fuck he wants to, because he's young. He's the best player in the NBA. So I think that's the biggest key for the Celtics.
Yeah.
But that kind of wraps up the NBA talk.
The NBA talk.
We'll get a little bit more into the playoffs, especially how the series works out next week. And like I mentioned before, we'll already get to those grades as well. But Ryan, are you ready? It's your time to shine, bub.
Doing 2-minute drill?
We're doing the 2-minute drill.
my
Ryan's
God.
2-minute drill. As always before, quick hits, quick responses, quick thoughts. Trying to get done under the 2-minute line. I think that Ryan supposedly,
Oh.
rumor has it, has a spicy 5th option for us.
Ooh.
Just a heads up, we don't know what these 2-minute drill questions are, just in case you were wondering. We kind of get them out on the fly. We have an idea of some things, like Miguel Cabrera hitting 3,000 hits. Like, we kind of probably figured that would be brought up. But, so we got some spicy ones, but Ryan's been some sprinkling, some everything seasoning bagel. Everything bagel seasoning on our avocado toast.
You like an everything bagel?
I love it.
I think they're okay. I think they're all.
What's your favorite? Just a plain?
Everything bagels are goated.
Yeah, I think like if you get like a little cheesy bagel.
See,
I do love the cheesy
Or
bagel.
if you could get like a cinnamon bagel with cream cheese.
Okay, that's a different story.
That's not versatile.
They're really.
Cheese. For sure. Speaking of being tapped in,
Yes.
we might have one of the fellow Coast to Coast people tapped into the Philadelphia 76ers game on Friday.
Oh, live.
Live
Wait, it's not me.
in the Wells Fargo Center.
I don't think it's me.
I'm going to let you guys guess who it is. I know Will's a very big, avid Sixers fan.
I am huge.
And no, it's not him. It's actually John Witt. John
I
is
love
a
the city.
huge-
We're sending John to Philadelphia.
We're
I
sending
love
John
the
to
city of Philly.
But no, I will potentially be there. Hopefully, knock on wood, everything works out well. So we'll be tapped in. But Ryan, are you ready?
I think I'm ready to
Are you
go.
gonna bring the heat?
Yeah.
Let's bring the heat. All right, give it to us.
All right.
Whenever you're ready.
And we're going.
Going. Lay it on
All
us.
So, Clayton Kershaw becomes an all-time strikeout leader for the Dodgers. Is he the GOAT Dodger pitcher?
What do you say?
Wait, go Dodger or go Dodger pitcher?
Do either or.
Go pitcher? Yes.
Go pitcher, yes. Kurt Gibson's the Dodger goat. Kurt Gibson.
I
I
don't know.
Piazza. I don't know. Piazza's pretty fucking up there.
I don't know if I'm ready to say he's the GOAT pitcher.
All right.
I might give it to
Go.
Sandy.
Sandy.
I'd say always
Sandra Koufax.
Sandy Koufax.
All right.
All right, we gotta pick it up.
Oh, sorry, that was probably a minute.
Chris Paul went a perfect 14 for 14, as we discussed earlier,
Point guard.
33 points. Is this one of the best playoff performances ever?
No.
No, 33 points. No.
I mean, no, it's impressive, but it's not. It's not. LeBron's like 41, whatever, insane.
LeBron scored like 20 in a row.
Yeah, Michael Jordan 67 first round against the Celtics. Go on.
All right. Nagby had one of the absolute banger goal of the year, which I'm going to try and bring up. This might waste a little time.
We're definitely going to be above.
Dude, we're definitely.
We're gonna be over
We might not make it. That's all right.
Yeah, that's fine. We're enjoying this.
Is this goal of the year the Kennedy?
I saw it. I mean, I thought it was pretty cool.
It's
I
early in the year.
guess I haven't seen anything cooler than that this year.
I think yes for now. Obviously, anything can happen, but we'll see.
I mean, it was a weak goal. Like, what are we talking about? Such a weak goal.
Suck my ass, John.
All right. And we got like 20 seconds left. That's all right, though. We went a little over. Ben Joyce hit a 105.5 mile per hour fastball.
Jesus. Absolutely.
Is this the next great flamethrower? Aroldis Chapman.
That's the Tennessee guy, right?
I'm
Pitcher.
gonna say, you know what? No.
I'm going to say if he stays healthy, yeah. 105? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, I mean,
That's insane.
yeah, Tommy Johns might be coming soon,
Right.
but sure.
All right. We're going a little bit over. That's all
Of
right.
course we are.
Ah, fuck. We were good. We were on the streak.
But Trevor Bauer suspended for 2 years for his domestic violence cases. Does this put any pressure on the NFL to do something with Deshaun Watson?
No.
You don't think
Totally
so?
different thing.
I don't think so. I mean,
I don't think the NFL.
200. Well, I think it was like 300 some games
Yeah,
total.
300
2 years
points.
exactly.
Two
That-
years a game.
The comparison to NFL is just not there, and even I don't think the Trevor Bauer suspension will be that long. I think he'll get that shortened at least a little.
With the new guy coming out of what was it, Columbus, when he was with the Clippers, another girl came out and said some shit. So I mean I don't know if it'll get appealed, but
I didn't see that.
I don't know if you can compare domestic violence with what was it? What would you call it? Deshaun, sexual assault?
I guess, yeah.
I guess sexual
They're
assault.
they're not the same thing.
Yeah, I know. So it's just kind of hard to exchange
I know,
there. But
NFL's track record though, they're okay with it.
yeah, I say NFL's very wildly inconsistent. So I think this will put some type of pressure on it in the sense that sports people will be talking about, especially if Deshaun gets nothing. I think it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. But
That wraps it up.
that wraps it up.
So
Ryan
what was our
Kinder
total
Jones.
time?
We
Did
did
we have
not
a
make
total
it.
time?
We did not make it.
Nah, we were like probably 40, 30 minutes.
So
Ryan's
we
three.
were like a
Close.
count down from 2, so we weren't able to see our total time.
So we'll try and do better next week. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We really do appreciate it. Be a friend, tell a friend. As always, we appreciate you guys. We love the support. We'll get the poll up on Twitter. Tell us what your favorite month
What
is.
was it?
Look forward to next week for draft grades for the AFC East. Bills first,
Bills first.
Dolphins second.
Dolphins second.
Jets third.
More playoff basketball to talk about, and some another Ryan Sooner drill that we'll try and do better next week with. Ryan, you got anything to say to people before we leave?
Have a good week.
Have a good week, John.
I mean, we didn't talk about NHL playoffs are going on too. That's pretty interesting.
Hey,
That's
Florida
a point-
Panthers.
That's a
Yeah.
point for April.
Yeah.
That's a point for April.
All right. Well, we appreciate you guys so much. Thank you for being with us. We'll see you later.